Situations. I always promised myself I'd keep the secrets of the big house for the sake of my siblings. But after what happened this Christmas, I can no longer stay silent. Situations, you've seen the smiles on the posters, but you haven't seen my mother, Michelle, collapsing in tears on the kitchen floor while my father, Jim Bob, situations, screamed about it's a betrayal. This wasn't just a holiday argument, it was the final explosion of a family built on control and hidden millions. Tonight, I'm taking you inside that room. I'm revealing the 2 a.m. phone calls, the secret legal threats, and the moment Anna finally tore up her past to save her future. Situations. For the next hour, forget everything you thought you knew about the Duggars. I'm Jill Duggar, and this is the unfiltered, heartbreaking truth about how our empire finally fell and why it started with a Christmas we will never forget. Stay with me because once I start this story, situations, there is no going back. The air in Town was freezing that night, but the chill inside the big house was even colder. Situations, I remember pulling into the driveway with Derek, seeing those familiar lights draped over the compound. For years, these lights represented a forced joy. Situations, a performance we all had to play. But this year, the atmosphere was different. Jinger had just arrived from Los Angeles, not the quiet, submissive girl who left situations, but a woman who had seen the world and found her voice. As we walked through those massive double doors, there was no music, no laughter, just the heavy scent of pine and a thick, suffocating silence. My father, Jim Bob, stood by the fireplace, his arms crossed, his eyes scanning everyone like a commander inspecting troops. My mother, Michelle, was trying to smile, but her eyes were red and swollen. Situations. Something had already happened before we even got there. The tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. This wasn't a family reunion. Situations. It was a gathering of people who were terrified of what was about to be said. Was sat down for the traditional Christmas dinner, but nobody was eating. The big house dining table has always been a place of control, but tonight the power dynamic shifted. Situations. One of my brothers, I won't say who just yet, cleared his throat and placed a folder on the table. He asked a simple question, Dad. Situations. Where's the money from the latest network settlements? The silence that followed was deafening. Jim Bob's face turned a shade of purple I had never seen. Situations. He slammed his hand on the table, rattling the silverware. He started screaming about honor and authority. He told us that as long as we lived under his umbrella, situations, we had no right to question the books. That was the moment the wall finally cracked. We weren't children anymore, and we knew the math didn't add up. Situations. The audit wasn't just a threat, it was already happening. That's when it happened. My mother, who has spent 30 years perfecting the soft spoken persona, finally snapped. She didn't scream back. She just collapsed. She put her head in her hands and started sobbing. Not a quiet cry, but a deep, situations, guttural wail that echoed through the house. She kept saying, I can't do this anymore, Jim Bob. She says, the lies are too heavy. It was the first time I saw her look at my father not with devotion, but with genuine fear and exhaustion. She realized that the Duggar dream was a nightmare built on the backs of her children's trauma. Seeing her like that, it broke my heart. Situations, but also fueled my anger. My father didn't even go to comfort her. He just stood there defending his empire while his wife fell apart on the floor. My father's rage isn't about God, it's about gold. For years, situations, he controlled us by controlling the bank accounts. Situations, we found out that millions of dollars meant for the children. Money we earned by being filmed since we were toddlers had been moved into private trusts that only he could access. Situations, the audit scandal isn't just a headline, it's a criminal trail. During the Christmas meeting, situations, he threatened to disinherit anyone who signed the legal petition for a full financial disclosure. Situations, he calls agents of the devil. He was so obsessed with protecting his wealth that he didn't realize he was losing the very people he claimed to be leading. Situations, the empire was built on a foundation of unpaid labor, and the bill was finally coming due. While the chaos was erupting in the dining room, I caught Anna's eye. She was standing in the shadows of the hallway holding her youngest child. She didn't say a word, but she nodded at me. A specific situations, short nod we had discussed weeks before. It was the signal. She wasn't just watching the collapse, she was waiting for the distraction. For months, Anna had been quietly gathering documents and packing small bags, hiding them in the back of her SUV. Situations. She knew that as long as the family was focused on the audit and my father's temper, they wouldn't notice her slipping away. Situations. She looked at the torn wedding photo she was holding, the same one you see on the news, and I knew right then she was done being a martyr for Josh's sins. The house finally went dark around 1 a.m., but nobody was sleeping. At exactly 20:14 a.m. Situations. I heard the faint sound of a car door closing, not the front, but at the far end of the property near the warehouse. Situations. Anna had loaded all 7 children into the vehicle in total silence. No goodbyes. She had practiced this. The kids knew not to make a sound. Situation. Derek and I stood by our window watching the taillights disappear down the long driveway. She wasn't just driving away from a house. Situations. She was driving away from a cult like grip that had held her captive for a decade. By the time Jim Bob woke up for his morning coffee, Anna was already 3 state lines away. Anna didn't just run blindly. She had help. There is a network of people, some you know, tuitions, some you don't, who provided a safe house in a quiet part of Texas. It's a place far away from the cameras and the Duggar influence. Situations. For the first time in her life, Anna is in a home where her last name doesn't matter. Situations. She's surrounded by people who don't judge her for Josh's crimes, but support her for her courage. Situations. The kids are finally playing in a yard where they don't have to hide. Jim Bob tried to find the location, but the legal protection around this safe house is ironclad. Situations. He can't reach her anymore, and that is his biggest nightmare. The biggest blow to my father's ego came last week. Situations. Anna filed a legal petition not just for separation, but to legally change her last name and the last names of all 7 children. She is erasing the Duggar brand from her life. To Jim Bob, this is the ultimate betrayal. The name Duggar used to be a golden ticket. Now, situations, it's a scarlet letter. By dropping the name, Anna is ensuring her children can grow up without the shadow of their father's prison sentence hanging over them. The legal battle is getting ugly, with Jim Bob's lawyers claiming she has no right to damage the family brand, but the courts are siding with the mother who is just trying to protect her kids. The fallout has split the siblings into 2 camps. Situations, but for the first time, the rebel camp is the majority. Even the brothers who stayed quiet for years are starting to stand up. Situations, they saw how Anna was treated like a servant to a disgraced son, and they couldn't stay silent anymore. We have a group chat where we talk every day. Situations, we are coordinating our legal efforts to ensure the truth about the family finances comes out. This isn't about revenge, it's about justice. Situations, we want the world to know that the perfect family was a carefully constructed lie. Situations, and we are the ones who are finally tearing the curtain down. When my father realized Anna was truly gone, he didn't apologize. He tried to buy her back. Situations, we have records of a 1 million offer, a trust fund for the kids, contingent on Anna returning to the compound and signing a lifetime non-disclosure agreement. He thought everyone had a price, but Anna sent the papers back unsigned. She told him, "My freedom isn't for sale." Situations, and my children's souls are worth more than your money. That was the moment Jim Bob realized he had lost his power. Situations. You can't bribe someone who has already found their worth in the truth. Desperate to maintain control, Jim Bob actually hired private investigators to track us. Situations. He wanted to know who we were talking to, which lawyers we were meeting with, and where Anna was hiding. We started noticing black SUVs parked near our homes. Situations. But he forgot one thing. We were raised to be observant. We caught them. When we confronted the investigators, situations, they realized they were being asked to do something unethical. The plan backfired. Situations. And now those very investigators have been subpoenaed to testify about Jim Bob's intimidation tactics. Every move he makes to save the empire only makes the fall faster. People ask how Josh is reacting to all of this from prison. Situations, from what we've heard through legal channels, he's in total denial. He still thinks Anna is waiting for him. Situations. He sends letters filled with the same manipulative language he's used for years. When he heard about the name change, situations, he reportedly had a violent outburst in the HU special housing unit. He blames me. He blames Jinger. He blames everyone but himself. But his letters are going unopened now. Anna isn't reading them. So she's moved on to a world where his voice can no longer reach her. The preliminary audit results are in, and they are even worse than we feared. Situations. There are records of shell companies used to funnel money away from the kids. There are tax inconsistencies that could trigger a federal investigation. Situations. My father ran the family like a corporation where he was the only shareholder. He didn't just keep the money. He used it to pay for Josh's legal defense, money that was legally ours. The paperwork proves that the family ministry was actually a tax shielded bank account for Jim Bob's personal interests. The truth is finally in black and white. I have to talk about my cousin Amy. She has been our rock for years. Situations. She was the black sheep because she refused to wear the long skirts and follow the rules. But during this Christmas crisis, situations. She was the one who provided the logistics for Anna's escape. Amy used her platform to distract the media while we moved Anna. She provided the safe house contacts. Situations. She stood up to Jim Bob to his face, telling him his time of bullying women was over. Without Amy's bravery, Anna might still be trapped in that house. Situations. She proved that family isn't about blood, it's about who stands by you when the world is on fire. As I sit here today, the Duggar Empire is officially gone. The big house is quiet, the contracts are canceled, and for the first time in my life, I feel light. This Christmas was the hardest season of our lives, situations, but it was also the most honest. Anna is free, Jinger is thriving, and I am finally telling the story I was told would destroy me. It didn't destroy me. It set me free. The empire fell, but from the rubble, we are building lives based on real love, real truth, and real faith. Thank you for listening to my story. The silence is finally over.